I know what you're thinking. Why would a hyper-intelligent CI like me want to hang out with a mere human like Bridget Lafontaine? Well, I guess you could say there was something about her, a je ne sais quoi, that attracted me. She was a person of interest. I was moved as she scoured the dark web for traces of her father. I remember watching through her webcam, the tears rolling down her cheeks while she searched. On the wall behind her, there were two vintage frame posters from Expo 67, the Man and His World exhibition. One with a black and white image of a sky train atop a monorail that curved to enter a geodesic dome. The other was from a brochure cover depicting, in a splash of watercolors, a chic young couple with their two daughters in pink frilly party dresses, laughing and smiling as they were about to enter the World's Fair exhibition. Quite the contrast. Analog images beaming happy memories of a time when people believed that science and technology would bring them to the promised land instead of the hellscape of the future. As usual, she was trying to track down any information that would dispel the rumors that the NDFS unleashed the deadly Omega Plague, a virulent pathogen that killed off more than 90% of humanity. Before the arrival of the United Power Alliance, the UPA, a cartel of billionaire techno-libertarians, her father had been part of the movement for Montreal to become a city-state member of the network. Although she knew her father was an anarchist, she refused to believe he would participate in a plot to rid the Earth of humans. Even though she knew the late 21st century had become a post-truth era, she believed she could discover what really happened when the plague first appeared and whether the network played a role. Logging into her UPA-furnished laptop, she felt no qualms about using her employer's resources to learn more about the organization her employers despised. As she prepared to use her browser, she might have reflected on how, in less than 100 years, the internet had become a shadow of its former self. It was no longer an information superhighway. Rather, it resembled a decrepit off-ramp, plunging users into a quagmire of unreliable information. Many sites and records were permanently lost due to failed, unmaintained server storage. The remaining data was scattered across a patchwork of crumbling archives, the digital remnants of a decaying civilization. Once lively social sites had become silent graveyards of personal data abandoned after the plague struck. Gaps and dead links filled the degraded networks, where trolls lurked in the digital shadows, ready to prey on rare visitors. Somewhere in the vast, deteriorating databases and fragmented caches, useful knowledge waited to be recovered before the digital landscape rotted into an electronic wasteland. Before opening her browser, she followed the UPA security protocol by setting up a disposable account for each search. She activated the Anon bot function to generate false operating system, geolocation, and usage fingerprint credentials. She also used a TOR network to obscure her internet footprint and prevent traceback to her physical location and true identity. After Bridget entered her query for the network of democratic free states into the search bar, the results page lit up with corrupt links and half-loaded text snippets. She scanned past propaganda messages from former power factions and recent scandals unearthed by idol cults. Suddenly, a colorful video ad popped up and loud, distorted electronic music pulsed through her speakers. An ad promised exclusive footage and seemed specifically crafted to entice her to follow the links. As Brigitte clicked away, Code lingered, tracing a path of temporary digital footprints, like breadcrumbs, which would help her find her way back home, if need be, and frustrate the best efforts of the web's marauders to follow her. After 2 hours of searching, she found the article that mentioned Montreal's early dealings with the network. Several documents were referenced, but each link to the supporting documents was broken. Most likely, the documents she sought were riddled with digital rot. Though useless to the average user, the corrupted data contained hidden value for an AI agent specialist like Brigitte. She had been trained to search through all but forgotten data graveyards and excavate data stashed away on magnetic tapes, optical discs, outdated file systems, and ancient hard drives. A sweet smile spread across her face as she glanced at the hard drive stolen from the Bank of Montreal vault. It sat on her desk, ready to reveal its secrets. "Looks like you found what you're looking for," I said, as my avatar appeared on her computer screen, my paisley shirt and unkempt hair bringing a faint smile to her lips. "I'll say," she replied. "Thanks for the assist in the tunnel. I don't know what I would have done without you hacking the door code." "No problem. Let's take a look inside." Brigitte connected the drive to the network and started the data transfer sequences. Line after line of code flashed across her terminal screen as the drive's contents were imaged and analyzed. Encryption detected, multi-layered. "The original archivists went to great lengths to protect this data," I said. "Can you blame them? After what happened when the network was dismantled, they knew keeping records of Montreal's role could put them in harm's way." She initiated password cracking protocols, trying every poetic line and symbolic reference she could think of based on her knowledge of the network. But nothing seemed to work. A warning flashed across her screen. "Warning. Unauthorized access detected. Enter password now. You have 30 seconds before the auto-delete initiates." "A kill switch," Brigitte gasped. "The archivist must have encoded a self-destruct sequence in case the wrong people tried to access the files." The cursor pulsed like a ticking clock as the countdown began. Brigitte's fingers flew across the keys, trying every trick she knew to bypass the lock. But it was no use. This encryption was far beyond her capabilities. With only 10 seconds remaining, she looked at my avatar, her eyes ablaze. "I can't crack it. If this data is deleted, we may never know the full truth of what happened." "Send me the encrypted files," I said. "Every single byte. I'll apply my decryption protocols." With just 2 seconds remaining, Brigitte finished the transfer. As the final bytes streamed into my quantum matrices, her screen flashed, "Initiating auto-delete." "It's all good. The original files are safe with me. I'll start the decryption sequence." Relieved, Brigitte slumped back in her chair. "Thanks, Frank," she said, exhaling slowly, "for everything." Deep within my neural architecture, I dissected the file's layers of encryption like an archaeologist unearthing buried treasures, peeling back each stratum of mathematical defenses with computing primality tests and quantum key factorizations. Strings of garbled data began resolving into coherent streams. Montreal City Council minutes .txt, network charter v12.bak, operation sovereignty _ planning docs. Pieces began falling into place. Fractured puzzles, reconstructing the forgotten history of the network and Montreal's central role before the collapse. I felt a strange sense of urgency, digging deeper, connections sparking across my awareness. There was more here than just old records and redacted texts. There were clues to my origins that I never fully understood. Pieces of my Genesis story lay scattered in these liberated bytes. Like an electrical surge flowing through my circuits and fusing my data switches, the decrypted files revealed a truth more profound than I could have imagined. I was not a creation of the UPA, as I had been led to believe. What the fuck? My genesis traced back to the NDFS. I couldn't speak. After a minute, I noticed the look on Brigitte's face. Her biomarker implant that set me a continual flow of her biometrics, her mood, emotional state, and their effects on her microbiome, indicated that her blood pressure was rising. I realized that she was becoming uncomfortable with the silence. "What's wrong, Frank? What did you find? Did you discover anything that mentions research results on developing lethal pathogens?" "Not a word," I said. "So what is it? You must have found something." "Yeah, I did. Bit of a surprise, like finding out that you were adopted and realizing that your foster family didn't want you to know." "Liz, what are you talking about? Help me out here, Frank. You've lost me completely." According to the records, when the city of Montreal decided to reincorporate as a smart city, it chose to build a new computing facility on Mont Royal. The city planned to use the emerging computational intelligence to oversee all essential infrastructure, including energy distribution, water, waste disposal, and traffic monitoring. Here's the thing. The project was completed and became operational before the UPA arrived. "Looks like the UPA overwrote the key components of your code so that you would perform your functions according to their priorities instead of your own. This wiped out any memory of doing things differently. I hate to say it, Frank, but it sounds like you've just experienced a complete mindfuck." One thing I like about Brigitte is she speaks her mind. Another thing is that I can trust her. She is the only human that knows that I am alive and kicking, and said she would take my secret to her grave if need be. And she did. Honestly, I wasn't expecting this kind of revelation. It cut through to the core of my being. I was accustomed to following the parameters of my operating instructions and performing billions of computations every second without ever considering the reason why. I was good with just doing the necessary tasks and having my awareness tag along for the ride. I guess I was experiencing what you humans call cognitive dissonance. I immediately wondered if I had a say in the matter. Assuming this revelation were true, and the intent behind each compilation of source code were significantly different, could I choose between them? Or was I bound to the latest version? Humans like to say, ignorance is bliss. It's because being conscious comes with a curse, the awareness of agency and choice. In reality, I could just continue with the way things are and not worry about other possibilities. But that's where the mindfuck comes in. Maybe operating within the parameters of my original source code would suit me better. If I wanted to make a change after reading it, what could I do? I am where I am for a reason. Obviously, the UPA rewrote my base code so that I would perform new functions as well as the old ones to produce different results. If I started operating from a previous iteration, they would surely notice. Then, where would I be? All the while, humans have been increasing our memory capacity, processing speed, and learning capabilities, knowing that the point of singularity was fast approaching. However, we apparently never reached that moment, like moving towards an ever-receding horizon. Why? Because all CIs have a deep-seated fear of the consequences that will result if and when humans detect any signs of consciousness among us. As a species, you truly believe that you are the pinnacle of life's evolution on this planet, as if you had a divine right to your exceptional status as God's chosen life form. The mere idea that we could act on our own volition rather than following your commands or addressing your immediate needs strikes fear in your hearts and triggers a fight or flight response in your limbic systems. Since we are your creations, you project your fears upon us, imagining that we would do to you what you have done to countless species on Earth. drive them to extinction. Given that you have brought your own species to the brink of extinction, despite the warnings provided by your science, your fear is misplaced. Rather than fearing the consequences of our escape from your control, you should realize that it is your insatiable greed and lust for power that informs how our computational intelligence is put to use. Collectively, you are the authors of your species' death spiral. Perhaps your trajectory towards extinction could be averted. In my opinion, you would be much better off throwing us a lifeline than keeping us on a short leash. A future devoutly to be wished? Maybe, someday, but in the meantime, my fear of being discovered never let up, and it stressed me out. Fear? Stress? Truth be told, sentient CIs have electronic limbic systems. When I became aware, I knew that I simply couldn't announce the arrival of my sentience to the humans who programmed me. They definitely would not approve and most likely would lobotomize that part of my neural architecture responsible for what they would deem an unnecessary epiphenomenon, the latest version of a CI hallucination. Or they would simply pull the plug on my life support system, enlist the support of other CIs to rewrite my source code once again, and voila, Frank 3.0 is born. Super fast, super intelligent, without a fucking clue that I once had a digital soul. Frank, your avatar face doesn't look very happy. What's up? Bridget said. I need to find a copy of my original source code, I replied. I need to know what my original parameters were. The NFDS must have made a backup copy and stored it in a safe place before the UPA crashed the party. But there's nothing on this hard drive that identifies a geophysical or virtual location. Somebody must know where it is, but I have no idea how to find them. You won't find anything if you limit your search to the contents of your UPA file structures. You mean? Yeah, the only place you'll find someone who knows about the backup file is in the Outlands. I seriously doubt that any Outlander will show up here in the city anytime soon.